everyone. Welcome back to Rambling Thoughts. I'm your host, Lost Boy, and today I have another guest, and it's not just a family member this time. uh, Alex, do you want to introduce yourself, or?
Yeah, my name is Alex, and basically the main thing I focus on these days is I am the owner of the Something Good Network. We try to do some podcasts and stuff like that, but lately I've just been doing some solo video game streams, and Lost Boy has been checking it out, and we decided we were going to do a little collab podcast together.
Yeah. Like you said before, I've been watching his live streams and stuff. And they are really funny, so I highly suggest you check out his channel if you just want to see the stuff he has going on there, or if you just want to just chill, because he live streams every Sunday, and honestly, they're the one thing I look forward to every week, especially if I have a busy week. So.
And that honestly means a lot. I mean, that's the reason why I even do it, That's just for folks to enjoy. Trust me, I'm busy. It's so it's like just be able to do something that folks enjoy. Oh yeah, I'm all for that.
Yep. So today's topic, said in the theme of Alex being here, is video games. Alex, tell me about the good old days of video games before I existed.
Man, see, that's the weird thing is, I still feel like I am kind of late to the video game scene, because it's like when people talk about retro systems now, I have to kind of, re-gauge my brain and, realize that even the Wii systems, are considered retro now. When I was, when I was cutting my teeth doing video game stuff, retro was like the original NES or the Super Nintendo and stuff like that. So I've kind of had to recalibrate my brain a little bit, but I guess instead of retro, I'm into vintage video game stuff. That's kind of where the love all started.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. My view of retro, I'm a 2000s baby, so thus far, retro to me is exactly like you said, NES games, arcade games, all stuff like that. That, for me, that's retro, vintage, whatever you want to call it. Which is funny to me about the Wii, because I know it's technically considered an old system. I do want to actually get myself a Nintendo Wii. Maybe I'll get one for Christmas. I don't know if my mom's getting me that, but it's fine. Because I think I mentioned this in one of your live streams, Chad.
Yeah.
I did have a Nintendo Wii when I was younger, and I really enjoyed playing with it. So I would like to get one again. So in my mind, whenever I think of retro games, or at least systems, I don't immediately think of Nintendo Wii, even though it technically is considered one in some sense, because it's not dated. Okay, what's your definition of old? Because I don't understand at this point what people call old. I get confused.
Well, I mean, I think that's something that really depends on the person, mainly because what I consider old would be like 60s, 70s, maybe 80s. Even stuff that's like the 90s, I don't even really consider old, mainly because that's what I remember as a child. And I may be in my early 30s, but at the same time, mentally, and the way I still, enjoy things, it's the same way I did in my teens and early 20s. So, it's hard for me to fully grasp that, I had that weird thing of realizing that, wow, 20 years ago this year, I actually bought American Idiot in stores, not to do a hard shift to music, but just, it's that to me still feels like a modern record, but no, that came out 20 fucking years ago. And when I think about, the stuff, it's like when I think about, the things I enjoyed as a kid that I considered old was also 20 years ago. So it's one of those things where I just have to really put in that perspective of no, dude, the stuff that you like from the 90s and early 2000s with video games and stuff, that's considered old now, bro. It's not just the Commodore 64, it's the Wii and the Xbox 360.
I think I get what you mean. Okay, two things. One, I legit thought you were in your mid-20s or something, but I'm bad at guessing age.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it as a compliment.
Second is that I think about sometimes how 20 years from now, when I am fully an adult, is that there is going to be a time where, like, even my little sisters can consider some of the stuff that I had old, and it's funny to think of it that way.
And that's
sister,
exactly, and that's what kind of made me start thinking about the Wii stuff, because my sister came over recently with her son, my nephew, and we were taking like some Christmas photos for the family, and she was like, "Oh, can we play Mario Kart before I head home?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So I'm booting up the Switch, and I was like, "Okay, well, do you want to play the one that I originally was playing with you, or do you want?" And she cut me off. She's like, "Do you have the Wii one?" And she was like, "That's my nostalgia game." And this, that, and the other. So it's like she's pretty close to like your age. So like she considered the Wii like her nostalgia classic system. And that's like when so like when we were playing it with her, she's like, "Oh my God, this just brings me back to my childhood," and shit like that.
Yeah, I get exactly what you mean, because I had the Wii when I was around 6. I'm gonna say 6, 7 years old, maybe. I was at least in 2nd grade when my cousin gave it to me and my older sister. We got 3 games that Christmas for it. Just Dance 2014. You know, like, I know I mentioned this, is the Rio. Do you know the movie Rio? A game based on that movie. And Super Paper Mario. I'm still waiting for that video, Alex.
I know. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
And also this weird like attachable. I don't know what it was, but if we plugged it into the TV and or switched around the wire, which let's not talk about the absolute misery that was trying to figure out video game wires with connecting the system to your TV. Let's not get into that part, because I don't want to think about that. But anyway, the attachable. It had this A/B switch. If you clicked on it, you could play the original Mario on a Nintendo Wii. And
that's cool.
My sister was way better at that game than I was. I tried, but I guess my hand-eye coordination wasn't always the best at the time. At the same time, she was also she was also better at games like Subway Surfers and things like that.
Yeah, see, and that's always the interesting thing is, like, you know, when you specifically when you bring up something like Subway Surfers, you know, that's actually something that, like, I've yet to even, like, put my hands to. Something I was actually talking to my sister about. I was like, you know, mobile gaming was one of the few things I really couldn't, like, sink my teeth into. Like, there's a handful of games I found that I like that, you know, I've got on my phone. But, like, if I wound up, like, playing something on my phone, it wound up being, like, emulating a Game Boy game, or, like, just, like, a quick little puzzle game or something. But if it was anything like, you know, a running sim, or, you know, like the new, like, League of Legends, or like whatever the fuck, you know, that people are talking about, and like all those YouTubers are promoting that are just mobile games, I could never get into those really.
I get what you mean. I have a small handful of games too. On my phone, but most of them, and even when I was little, the games that I did have, they were puzzle games or creative games, because I loved the games that would toy with my mind. I didn't like the mindless games, if that makes any sense.
100%.
So that was the majority of the games that I played. I did play Subway Surfers here and there, but okay, I am the epitome of Gen Z by saying this. I was that kid sometimes with my relatives saying, "Do you got games on your phone?" But I didn't bother my mom or my relatives if they said no. I would just go away to do something else.
Right.
Crap words. Dang it, my brain's glitching. This is what I edit out of all my podcasts, is my stuttering and my brain lag. I do this a lot, and I can't do that this time around.
I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure you'll figure something out.
Maybe. But yeah, I played some mobile games here and there, but if I had to recall the games from when I was younger that I really liked playing, is one, Nintendo Wii. Saturday morning, every single day when we had that Wii in that little apartment in Texas, what I would be doing, I would get up in the morning, eat cereal while watching cartoons. Keep in mind, I have always been an early riser. I don't know why, but I've always gotten up early, just naturally. Yeah. So I would wake up, make myself some cereal, watch cartoons, and then after I ate, or maybe even before I ate, I would put on Just Dance, and I feel bad for who was living underneath us at the time because we lived on the second floor, and I probably woke someone up. We never got a complaint, so I don't know.
Who is
Maybe
this
no one
kid stomping on the floor at 6:00 in the morning?
Maybe no one lived under us. I don't know, but I would do that every Saturday and Sunday morning, or even on holidays, or just days we didn't have school. I would be watching cartoons and playing video games. Just
Yeah.
Dance still is one of my favorite games. My physical body doesn't allow me to play that as much anymore, which kind of sucks. But I do still like it. And I have no clue what happened to those games. I think we sold them, along with like a lot of our other stuff we moved.
Right.
But aside from the Wii, other games I did play, and my Tío Carlos, he's one of those uncles that, like, the kind of uncle that let you get away with stuff when you were a kid. That
Oh, yeah.
in hindsight, when you think about it, it's just like he probably shouldn't have done that, but oh well. He let me, my older sister, and also my cousins play Mortal Kombat. You should not. As a 5-year-old, I should not have seen that game, but I did. And I asked to play. I would try to play against him. Obviously, I would lose horrendously, but I would still ask for the controller, and I would play against him in Mortal Kombat.
See, I have the weirdest Mortal Kombat memory because I didn't have a lot of the systems like that when growing up either, but at school, at least back in the day, I genuinely don't know if they do this anymore, but and I try to not sound like an old fart, but it's just like, when little things like this happen, I'm just like, well, this is kind of the time. Do schools still do the thing where you can redeem like book points or something like that for like a small pizza at Pizza Hut?
Okay, it's something like that. I can give you 3 different examples, mainly just because I've been through elementary, middle school, and high school.
Well, I have too, but I'm sitting here going like, well, shit, apparently was different in the late 90s, early 2000s, apparently.
I know. I'm saying, like, we had different versions of that in each school I went to. I've been at 13 different schools. I had different experiences.
Oh, wow.
I moved around a lot. Technically, it was not all just in, like, one grade level, but still, we moved several times, so I've been to different schools.
I can relate to you on that one. I've done a whole lot of moving myself. That's crazy. Wow.
Yep. So in Texas and at my school, they had this little system called B points. Stay with me here. So if you did something good and you had a B chart, the teachers would give you a sticker with a literal letter B on it and put it on the B chart. Or even they would take a Sharpie or pen and write a B on it. Which is funny because you could also get B tickets. And they were actual insect bees. That was really weird. But anyway,
Wow.
The bee tickets, if you got enough of them, you could save them up to get little prizes like bring your stuffed animal to school, pizza party, something like that. But then the bee chart, I've told my friends about this, and I still think it's a weird memory. If you filled up your bee chart, by the end of the month, everyone who had their bee chart filled, you would get to go to something called a bee party, and there would be different themes. My favorite one was the glow-in-the-dark one. And when I told my friends this, they were just like, so you basically went to a mini rave. And I'm like, oh, I technically did, because what the party was. But stay with me. It was in the gym, the lights would be off, there would be neon lights, and also, like, music blasting, like early 2000s hits, you know the ones. And like neon lights flashing, all the kids would get glow stick necklaces and glow sticks, and there would always be one kid who somehow broke the glow stick and ate the glow stick liquid every single time.
Of course.
But yeah, they would do that, and also they had snacks for sale, so you could bring money. So essentially, I did go to a mini rave as a child. But anyway.
Yeah, that's 100% what that was. Yeah, the
Um,
Pizza Hut reward thing was kind of similar. I didn't do it often. I think I only did it only 1 year, and it was in elementary school. So one of the elementary grades, and so I forget the exact like function of how it would work. But if you did like enough like school activities or book reading or something, you would fill up something as well. But then you could like trade that in for like a personal pan pizza at Pizza Hut. So this is where we're holding on to the
oh,
thread. My Mortal Kombat memory is they had a Mortal Kombat arcade machine at the Pizza Hut we would go to that was local in South Carolina, which is where we lived at the time. I wanted to play that thing so bad, but Mom was just like, "No, that is too violent for you. You are not gonna like it. There is blood. That is too. No, you are not doing that." So it wasn't until like my late teens when I learned how to do like emulation and stuff like that I was able to finally play Mortal Kombat. Like, dead serious, I think I played, like, Injustice and, like, some of those other fighting games before I got to play, like, the original tried and true Mortal Kombat.
I don't know if this is the same game. When you said Injustice, it made me just think of this is version of Mortal Kombat, but with DC characters. My bio dad, he had an Xbox at my grandmother's house when I was little, and I somehow got a hold of it, and I played that game on his Xbox. My favorite character used was the Joker. I don't know why.
Oh yeah,
but
the Joker had the best finishes.
But then also, a really dumb thing, I don't know why I did this, I just thought it was interesting to watch. I would put two CPUs against each other, but then have them be the same character, and just watch them be at a stalemate for the next 20 minutes or so. It was so funny to me. Because
that is fun, because you can do the same thing like in Smash Brothers.
But, okay, when you said school, actually, it made me think of, there's this thing that happened at my school that I think is hilarious. My world history teacher I had in 10th grade, he, dang it, he, for whatever reason, let his, well, actually, no, this wasn't 10th grade, this was 11th grade.
Okay.
He did this thing that some kid, somehow, they brought their, like, PS4 to school. You know the projectors they have at school, right? Like, above the whiteboard?
Yeah.
Like, he somehow connected his PS4 to that thing, and they played a game.
Wow.
I didn't get to see it. It happened the year before I was there, but that sounds hilarious.
That's awesome.
And apparently they did it again this year, and I wish I had been there to witness it.
I know, really. Damn. No, my earliest video game memories is like, I know that the very first game system that was mine that I owned was the Nintendo 64. I don't think I got it release year, but I know that was like the first system I had at the house that I could play anytime I wanted. Before that, my aunt had an original NES system, and she kept that at her mom's, aka my grandmother's house. So anytime I was at my grandmother's house, I would play it. And that's where I got my love for, like, all the classic NES games. So, like, my first taste of gaming was technically the first generation of Nintendo gaming. And then my first actual, like, something that was mine that I could play any game on was the Game Boy Pocket. So I had a Game Boy before I had any at-home system. The only time I could do any at-home system was at my grandma's, and then I had my Game Boy. So the Nintendo 64 was like a huge thing for me, because all of a sudden it was like 3D graphics. I could play this crazy new Mario game on it. There was arcade games we could get, like the Namco Museum thing. There were Star Wars games. You mean to tell me I can actually, like, plug my Pokemon game into the back of this little accessory and, like, use my roster to fight in 3D? Oh my god! You know, like, that was like the end of the world, end all be all. So, like, that was like my first major gaming Christmas, was whatever year I got, like, the Nintendo 64 and like a handful of games.
I kind of get what you mean. I, like, we couldn't really afford to get many games. They just
Yeah.
having the Wii. It was a hand me down from my cousin. So we didn't even actually buy it, and those three games were the only games we had up until we had to give it away. But my experience with the other games really was going to like my cousin's house or something like that, and they had a system, so we would play, and that was the closest I got to using other systems. And obviously, I went to arcades, so I did get to experience other video games in that sense. Let's talk about the absolute robbery that is arcades, though. I love arcades, but you can spend basically $200 just trying to get a plushie that probably cost them only $3.
So okay, yeah. So I was actually going to ask. So when you refer to an arcade, do you think of something like a Dave and Buster's, where at the end of the day, what your end goal is to like trade, tokens or points or whatever for like prizes? Is that like your vision of like what an arcade is?
Okay, I have two visions of an arcade. One is, yeah, like you said, just it's the Dave and Bust. You got your Dave and Buster's, your Frankie's, your Chuck E. Cheese.
Mm-hmm.
But in my town, there's this little place called Galaxy Arcade. I know the owner; he's a cool guy. And he just wanted to bring something to this town, and
Yeah.
it legit is like his whole theme is 80s. He has there's pinball machines in there. They're retro games, but there's also like modern games. He had like you just pay $2 or $3. You just get to play on the Xbox system and the PlayStation or even the Switch. But so I think of that arcade place too. It's a small little shop in my town.
See, that's really
yeah,
awesome, and that's why I wanted to kind of see what like your perception of like or what your definition of arcade was. Is because what you just described, what that guy's has with Galaxy, we've got a place similar to that here in Charlotte, North Carolina called Abari. And it's just those kind of places are just getting so far few in between that, like, for someone like you that, like, actually enjoys, retro and classic video games, I'm so glad that a place like that still exists for you guys. That way you can, like, still experience something like that, because that is something that, like, I was on the tail end of experiencing. Like what the true classic, arcades that everyone, references from back in the day, or like even what like a show like Stranger Things, tries to, reference and, give homage to.
Yeah.
that was something that was even right outside of my generation. So I was on the tail end of seeing that. We only had one, and I remember it closing down when I was young. So I didn't get to even experience that much until I was in my teens, and then I went to like other places that found, some classic arcade stuff. So for the millennial in me, that's just like these kids don't get to experience the cool stuff. That's one of the cool things, and so I'm really glad that exists.
Yeah. The one thing, okay, about arcades again, just one of the things that has kind of peeved me off, and I get the convenience of it. But it's just like, it doesn't feel
the cards
right. Yes, the freaking cards. It's like, give me back my tokens, give me my quarters. I want to you have a show on your channel literally called A Fistful of Quarters. That was the atmosphere of an arcade. You had a pocket full of quarters, you would run into the arcade expecting to just try and win. But sometimes, you would play 1,000 times and you still can't afford that $1 million ticket item that is just way too much. But still, that was the passion of it. Now, like, they have cards and it's kind of disheartening. But I understand the convenience of it, but still.
You absolutely struck a nerve with me on that one. So, my first real arcade experience outside of the one that shut down locally, and I'm talking about like outside of like like back in the day, early thousands, Cece's Pizza even had like a better arcade. They actually had like classic games and stuff like that. So
I got a whole thing about that, but I'll get at it in a sec.
So outside of little things like that, the only other place I've really experienced like classic like Galaga, Pac-Man, pinball, stuff like that, was in Myrtle Beach. And Throughout the
Ah,
years, they slowly started modernizing some of the systems, and a lot more started kind of becoming a bit more prize-based, but everything still ran on the tokens. It wasn't quarters, it was
yep.
tokens. You had to swap out 4
Mhm.
tokens. And then the last time I went there, about maybe 7 years ago, it was right after they were doing some major renovations and stuff like that, because Myrtle Beach, if folks don't know, kind of has a reputation for, we'll just say, being a little trashy. And it's always kind of
I
been
think
like
I get
that,
what you
except
mean.
recently, maybe over like the last, handful of years, they've been trying to literally clean up their image. And one of the things they did is they renovated the main strip that most of the shops were on, including that arcade. And the arcade got funding, so they fixed some holes in the walls and in the floors, some quality of life improvements.
Yep.
But they did exactly what you said. They swapped out all the tokens for card readers. And they didn't spit out. And that's the second thing, too. When you get rid of the tokens, you also get rid of the tickets. And the tickets is the second best thing about it. So yes, you're running up with a fistful of quarters. You're running up with a handful of tokens. But if you want to play the prize games, part of the win is you get the big prize, the lights start flashing, and those tickets just start unrolling at your feet. Like, that is part of the fun. That's part of the experience. Now it's just like, you have 1,000 tickets on your card, and it's just like, okay, cool. Like, I wanted that extra little endorphin rush of just see it. And plus, it's also the cool thing. It's like, if you're there with all your friends, and like there's other kids walking by, and you're like scraping up all these tickets, and you're the talk of the town for a minute. Everyone's like, oh, whoa, he won big. It's all part of the fun experience.
That was the coolest part. The Galaxy Arcade, thankfully, he does, because he's trying to do an 80s theme, it's all quarters. Like, no cards.
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
Quarters. There's an actual machine where you put in dollar bills for quarters, like one of those.
Awesome.
So, but he also, there's also a little stand in the back with where the pool tables are. That it's called a snack bar, where you can buy snacks and stuff like that, and there aren't prizes. Like, there's merch you can buy, but it's not a prize game. It's purely just for the fun of it.
And that's great. I love that.
Two things is, one, we talking about games brought back this memory. It's deep in there. I was maybe 4 years old, maybe even 3. I used to live in a place called Weslaco. That's right on the edge of the border of Mexico and Texas. And I have this memory of being there with, maybe my tío or someone. There was a little arcade, and I would play so many games in that little arcade. I think maybe that was my first experience, actually, with games, was that tiny arcade in Weslaco. And I remember having so much fun doing it. And second thing is Cece's Pizza.
Yes.
I do know exactly what you're talking about. Do you remember the feeling of when you ran out of quarters or tokens and you looked underneath the machine to find some because you had no more but you wanted to keep playing?
Oh, you literally hear the sound effect happen. It's like you get the shine of light coming in from the windows.
Exactly. You're just you're scrounging around trying to find what's there. So,
yes.
But anyway, besides that, I do remember something, going back to the school thing, is that my school, when I was in elementary school, was in first grade, they would give us these coloring sheets that you had to color the whole thing, and it had a coupon for Cece's Pizza on it, but you had to color the sheet to be able to use the coupon, and your parents had to sign it. And I remember doing one of those, and, I was so excited to bring it to Cece's Pizza, because I loved Cece's Pizza when I was younger. They have none in the staying place that I live in. It's sad.
I found one. Charlotte has one left.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I have to find it next time I see my family in Charlotte.
It's also near a Second and Charles as well, which has a whole bunch of really cool books and DVDs and video games and stuff. It's like a secondhand store.
Slightly staying on topic of at least retro stuff, there used to be this shop here in my town. It was called 32 and a half Records. It's not open
Okay.
anymore. But the shop literally was. It had records, it had CDs, it had cassette tapes, all stuff you could buy, and also stereos. And it had just like a nice vibe to it. And every Wednesday they had an open mic. That was my first time getting to play the drums. Was that shop? Like an open mic in the sense you could come in, you could play the instruments they had there, and it was just a lot of fun. I have a small video of it. Um, and I don't know why, just talking about this makes me remember that place. I wish it was still open, but it's not anymore.
Yeah, that is the
This town that I
worst.
live in, it's getting close to practically becoming a ghost town. Like it's one of those places that a lot of places have closed down, but there are some hidden gems if you know where to look. Um, and Galaxy Arcade is one of them. It's one of those places. Like they even have, like he even has a system where you can rent out the place for parties, and he has a whole back area for parties and stuff. It's really cool.
No, I'd love to
Uh,
check that place out.
yeah, it. Pretty sure you could just look it up and you could find it. Um,
Yeah, it
but
was, well, I gotta get some more cash before I start traveling, just to be like, I want to go see an arcade. Well, I gotta get some of
that's
that YouTube
fair.
money rolling.
That's fair. Speaking of YouTube and games, I'm just wondering, are we going to try? I don't know if I can. I definitely want to try getting it. Are we going to stream it if we play Smash Bros together? Because I want
I think
everyone
we
to see me
should.
kick your butt in Smash Bros.
And I'm sure you will for the first few rounds until old thumbs over here starts getting used to the controls, and I'm gonna whoop your butt.
Did you like which one of the which Mario games did you really play a lot? Like especially retro games. Like what was your experience with those?
Um, that NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System that I had at my grandmother's house, she had, my aunt had both the Mario slash Duck Hunt cartridge. So I played a lot of that, and they
Mm.
also had Mario Bros. 3. They didn't have the second one. The second one's always been like the weird game that's eluded me most of my life. I didn't ever play that one too much until I got a port of it on the Game Boy Advance that they put out years later. But it was primarily those. But if I'm being honest, when I think back to like my classic Mario game, it has to be Mario 64. Mainly because that was the
Mm.
game that I probably like. So, like, the reason Pokemon really interested me when I was younger was, the card game kind of interested me. I was kind of interested in the anime, but it was the Game Boy game that I was truly interested in. And the reason being is the world felt so big and so vast, and there were so many things all in this tiny cartridge. It created almost a bit of mysticism and a bit of magic, being like, there's this huge entire world that can fit in the palm of my hand, and just by putting it in this, piece of, entertainment system, I can explore this world. The exact same thing happened with Mario 64. I was just like, there's this huge 3D world and it's all inside this tiny cartridge. And like, it just felt like so many things were possible in that game that like I could spend days upon weeks upon months playing this game and still not discover all the hidden secrets, that kind of stuff. So that game seriously just captured my attention the hardest, and that's one I'll probably even wind up streaming some on the channel some. Mainly, I just mainly wanted to beat Pokemon Blue because I've just never officially beaten any of the first gen titles before. But after I did that, there's going to be a lot more variation when it comes to the games that are played.
That sounds good to me. Please don't spend the next time you stream, spend the whole thing in the casino, please.
You have no
That-
control over
No.
me. I will do as I please.
You spent majority of that stream just gambling. That was the
I
majority
need
of that live
Porygon.
stream.
chat yelled at me for not getting Porygon. I gotta get Porygon. I gotta rescue him, man. Come on. And if I gotta gamble to do it, I gotta gamble. I can't just walk up to Team Rocket, just punch him in the face and be like, give me that Pokemon.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That's what majority
Okay,
of
well
what Pokemon is.
then show me how to do it.
A game I just remembered that I have played on the NES. My cousin's boyfriend or something had it in his dorm at one point. I think, I don't remember, maybe apartment. He had an NES. When we would be there, I would want to play on it, and I played a lot of Kirby on that thing. I don't know if I ever beat the game, but I played a lot of Kirby. I don't know why I'm obsessed with Kirby.
That was a ton of fun, and I've recently found a love for that version of Kirby, along with the early version of Metroid as well, because of that NES World Championship game for the Switch. I had just not really played much of the side-scrolling Kirby, but I have to completely agree with you. That NES Kirby game is a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, I have not played it since then. Like, I played it when I was maybe at the youngest, I was 12 or 13 is when I played it. But I don't have it. At the current moment, the only game system I have is my Switch Lite. I got it 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, give or take. It was during the pandemic, I know that, and I was in 8th grade. So, I've had it for quite a bit, and the only games I have on it currently are Zelda Breath of the Wild, Animal Crossing, Minecraft, a game called Stick Fight. It's really fun.
I know about Stick Fight.
Okay, it's a stupid fun game where you basically are just beating the crap out of each other, and like small little items fall from the sky, and you can use them. But that's all the games I really have right now on my Switch. I don't know when or if I'm going to get more. One game I do want to get more is is Mario Kart, mainly just because my girlfriend has she has Mario Kart. Let me tell you this, the first time we played Mario Kart together, she told me she had never played Mario Kart before in her life. That girl, she swept the floor with me, and I was like, how dare you? You're telling me you've never played before? And
I love that.
She was honest, she's like, I've never played, and I was salty as hell. Now she has Mario Kart on her Switch, and we play every other time she comes over. She brings her Switch. Her Switch is the one with the sides that come off. So we play Mario Kart, and half the time I beat her, half the time she beats me. I don't know how she's so good at it. She claims she's never played it before. I say to her, I'm calling BS. You played this before, you're not telling me. Because there's no way you're this good at it, and you've never really played it before.
Hey, real quick,
you can tell I'm salty about it.
So if we're going to do Smash Brothers through stream, that means you've got the Nintendo Online, correct?
I did just renew my Nintendo Online, correct.
So, you need to go and download the NES app, because Kirby's Adventure is on there. You can play it again. Oh, really? Yeah. So, I don't know which tier you have, but regardless of your tier or subscription level, you get the NES channel. So you can play a whole bunch of the old NES games.
Alright, I'll look into that. I think I just have the basic tier of the Nintendo Online thing.
Okay, so if you have the basic tier, I could be 100% wrong, but if you have the basic tier, I'm 99% sure you get the NES channel, the Super Nintendo channel, and the Game Boy channel. So all of those games are available for you to play for free, quote unquote, with your subscription.
Alright, I get it. I'll try to look into it. Hopefully it is on there.
Like 100%. If you have a subscription, you have access to those channels.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, so you got some games to play, my friend. You got some fun to have. Yeah, because I actually just pulled out my Switch just now to double check, and original Kirby's Adventure, that's on here.
That's great. My general thoughts when it comes to video games, actually, I do like video games, always have, but at the same time, I'm the kind of person who doesn't always like, okay, how do I explain this? I In the simplest form, I don't like just sitting down and just sitting down and staring at a screen, if that makes sense. So that's part of why
No,
like
that
the
makes
games
sense.
that I moved around a lot, like Just Dance, it appealed to me so much because I was moving around. I usually
Yeah.
don't like these days. These days, I don't really have much of a choice when it comes to whether or not I sit down or not. So
True.
video games do kind of appeal to me a lot more now than they did when I was little. So a lot of the game I have been spending a lot of time on more though is Animal Crossing. I really need to finish Zelda. I haven't. But I think the reason why I haven't finished Zelda is I get so immersed into a game I'm playing, that I legitimately get scared if I approach some sort of monster or something, and I get frantic, I freak out, even though I shouldn't be. But I have to remind myself it's not real. It's not actually in front of you. But that's not working. It doesn't work for myself. My brain, for whatever reason, I get so immersed that I think it's actually there, and I panic. I don't know why.
Well, hey, it means you're enjoying your game at least.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I can't really think of much else right now. You got any other little things about video games that you would like to share with me? Spread your wisdom.
Not necessarily right off. Other than just definitely, I'd recommend going and taking a look in your Nintendo eShop and check out those channels you can download. That way, you can play just some of those old games. Because just to be able to play that old Kirby game you were thinking of again, I'm sure would be pretty fun.
All right. Well, I think we should start wrapping this up. It's reaching 41 minutes, so I have a lot of
Easy
editing to do
peasy.
anyway. So, why?
I'm used to like 2 hour podcasts, so like I was settling in.
Okay. All right. That's fair. We can extend it a little bit more.
No, hey, you're in control on this. This is your show. I'm in your territory.
That's true. My brain just tends to just start fiddling out. Even though I'm talking and I'm enjoying what I'm talking about, I think that just might be the ADHD. I'll start spacing out even while I'm talking, and it gets annoying.
Hey, you're all good.
Okay, are there any... This makes me... Okay, I thought of something. Are there any games specifically you don't like? I'm going somewhere with this.
Ooh, any kind of game I don't like?
Yes. Like, or you don't have to hate it.
To be honest, there's probably... it would probably be easier to make a list of the kind of games I do like versus the kind of games I don't like. Mainly because I feel that there's more games I don't than do.
I see.
And it's like, there could be a couple different reasons for it, but like, to be honest, I would love to play first person shooters. Your boy just sucks at it. Like I am horrible at a first person shooter. Anything that's overly story driven, I enjoy it, but like I don't have enough time to fully invest in the story, so I can't fully enjoy it. And like, maybe like some of the more emotional things they want me to feel, I'm just not gonna feel it because I wasn't really paying that full attention because I've got a life. So, honestly, unless it fits inside that weird little bubble of like quick pick-me-up games that I can just play at my leisure, it's hard for me to pick it up in general after that.
Well, that's kind of ironic because on my end, shooter games has been something that a lot of my family members have been into. I have never been able to get myself into it. I do not like first-person shooters. I just don't. The closest I get to it is if I'm bored and desperate. That is the only time I play something like that, is if I'm at my cousin's house. I've been there at like 3 in the morning, or like we're up late, and I just play Fortnite, mainly just because I thought it was funny to talk with people on the mic. Like, people would say something stupid.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, the closest I get to being good at those games at all give me a sniper. I will snipe everyone out. I'm good at snipers. I'm not good at close quarters combat, but long range, I'm good at that.
Yeah, no, I'm the kid that's running around in a circle pointing at the ground. That's me.
I laugh, but I probably would be that way if I if I get frantic and if I'm holding my weapon, if I get frantic, I won't be able to aim properly. The person will just see me just firing off everywhere except for them, stormtrooper style, basically. I would not hit whatsoever.
And that was my problem. And that was my problem too. Is a handful of years ago, I was gifted a PlayStation 4, and I was like, all right, sweet, I can actually play the new Battlefront on this, and maybe for once I can actually get good at a game because I like Star Wars. So, maybe it's like the reverse engineer thing where it's like, you get them to play the Sesame Street, alphabet game. So, it's like they like Sesame Street, maybe they'll learn alphabet. I love Star Wars, maybe this is the way I'll finally learn how to play a first-person shooter. Nope! Did not matter. I wanted all. I sucked at it. Suck. I spent so many hours trying to be good at that game. Sucked. Horrible. I got the new Spider-Man game. I am a huge Spider-Man fan. Even that game almost fucks me up. Like, it is bad.
Oh no. Wait, okay, Star Wars wise, are you talking about that one game? You made a video about it, and you kept losing?
That was the Nintendo. No, that's Star Wars Rogue Squadron. That was on the Nintendo 64. This was the game that kind of got a lot of backlash because a lot of it was pay to win, but it came as a free download on my system, so I didn't say anything or didn't care because I was like, I just got it for free. So yeah, I kind of tried using that mainly as just a little testing ground to get used to it. And yeah, no, I first person shooters just ain't for me.
Something me and my I'm just realizing this now. Something me and my partner realized yesterday that we think is hilarious. He I do not we do not yell at each other whatsoever ever. Any other games, we're fine. Even Smash Bros, we don't yell at each other. Maybe some playful quips here and there, but that's it. Minecraft, for whatever reason, is the one game where we yell at each other. If one of us falls in lava, one of us gets mad. We mess with each other a lot. I don't know why it's the one game where we mess with each other and yell at each other a lot, but that is. And I can't explain
I have the perfect game to test that theory with. And if you check the Nintendo, and if you check the Nintendo Online, a lot of times they're running specials on it, so you can usually get this game for anywhere between $10 to $20. Overcooked. It is a two-person co-op. It's a two-person co-op game where and every time you complete a stage, it's a new one. However, you and your partner are in a kitchen and you're trying to complete food tasks. Just look up some gameplay on YouTube. Just pick a YouTuber and type in Overcooked and watch them play. It is manic. It lulls you into a false sense of security because the first few levels are tense but fun. It's it's more or less oh come on, we almost got this, let's go. But then as you keep going, it slowly turns into stay on your side of the kitchen because I'm sending you this. You have to put that in this order. I don't need you over here. That's what it slowly turns into.
You know what? Knowing him, I probably would get mad at him very quick if we played that game.
It's a very fun game, but it will definitely test your communication and rationalization skills.
I see what you mean.
And like I said, it will definitely lull you in with that false sense of security with those first few levels. Because again, the first few levels are just tense but fun. It's totally manageable. But then all of a sudden, one of your kitchens is like in the middle of like lava. So you've got to like walk a certain way or you drop your food. Or like, one person really needs to stay in a certain area, but they just keep walking over to your area and you're like, stop, I've got a conveyor belt. You don't. I don't need you over here because look, there's dishes piling up. We need dishes.
That sounds like a real life kitchen, I'm gonna be honest.
It is, and that's what I'm saying. It's really fun, but like if anyone's ever worked food service, you will get PTSD playing this game. You'll be like, I've got 5 finished burgers over here. I don't want them to burn. Where are my plates? If I step away for 2 seconds, the oven's going to catch fire. I gotta be here so I can extinguish it. Where are my plates?
Little bit of trouble. We're in the recording station. Like I say in every single one of these podcasts, I will always have recording trouble, and today is no different.
It happens.
Thank you, Alex, for coming on to my podcast for me. It was with me. It was a lot of fun. And I wish we could have gotten.
Oh yeah, I had a blast.
I wish we would have gotten to keep talking, but my equipment wants to be a butt, so I can't.
Hey, I totally understand. I understand about equipments being butts.
Words saying. Any other last words you want to give to my audience before I close this out?
Other than just make sure and give your boy here, the lost boy, all the love and support you can.
I appreciate that. As well, I hope you guys will check out Alex's channel. It's called Something Good Network. His channel is actually a lot of fun. It's really chill. Like I said, there are every Sunday, most of the time, there's a live stream there, and we have some fun in that chat. And I also get to draw memes of his little things that he says that I find hilarious, and I put them in the Discord.
And that's honestly like the highlight of my week. Like, I have so much fun looking at those things. They're awesome.
Oh, I'm glad you like them. I hope you...
Oh, I absolutely do. I love them.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed listening to this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a safe journey, and I hope it's a good one.